Tomorrow morning, every lion on Earth doubles in size. Not twice as heavy, twice as long, twice as tall, and twice as wide. That means roughly 8 times the volume. Cars disappear beneath enormous paws. Zoos become extremely temporary suggestions. And somewhere, a wildlife photographer realizes he has selected the wrong lens. It looks like humanity's final morning. But it isn't, because lions are rare, visible, geographically limited, and now so heavy that their own bodies may work against them. So if doubling a lion isn't enough to destroy humanity, what animal should we choose? A crocodile? A mosquito? A rat? Somewhere on Earth is an animal that, with one press of this button, could attack our cities, our food, our health, and perhaps civilization itself. And it probably isn't the animal you're imagining. Let's establish the rules first. Noggo has been given a button. Press it, select one animal species, and every living member doubles in all 3 dimensions overnight. A 2-meter animal becomes 4 meters long. But because volume increases in 3 dimensions, its new body could approach 8 times its original mass. That sounds like an upgrade. It isn't always. Muscular strength and bone support depend largely on cross-sectional area, which only increases about 4-fold. Body mass could rise 8-fold. So our animal receives 4 times the supporting area, but around 8 times the body to support. Congratulations! You're bigger! Unfortunately, gravity has also subscribed. This is the square cube problem. Larger animals need thicker limbs, altered proportions, different cooling systems, and other adaptations. Our doubled animals receive none of those. They keep the same design and must survive the consequences. To win, an animal must score highly in 5 categories: immediate danger, global reach, damage to human systems, difficulty of containment, and long-term consequences. Let's begin with the monsters, the obvious predators. Lions. A large male lion can already weigh well over 150 kilograms. After pressing the button, some could potentially exceed a ton. That is not a cat you remove from the kitchen with a spray bottle. A single enlarged lion could cause a terrifying local disaster. But lions don't live everywhere. Their total wild population is relatively limited, and they are difficult to hide. Their enormous food requirements would also become a problem. An animal approaching 8 times the mass needs an extraordinary amount of energy, while reduced agility and overheating could make hunting harder. Deadly? Absolutely. Humanity ending? No. Noggo presses the button again. Crocodiles. Now we have armored ambush predators that can remain almost invisible in water. A doubled saltwater crocodile could approach the length of a bus. But crocodiles are tied mainly to suitable waterways in warm regions. Close rivers, worn communities, track them from the air, and humanity can isolate much of the threat. Also, an 8 times heavier crocodile must still drag itself across land using limbs that weren't redesigned for the job. The water helps support its weight. The supermarket parking lot does not. Crocodiles win our award for most horrifying thing to mistake for a floating log, but civilization survives. That's our first discovery. The animal most capable of killing one person is not necessarily capable of defeating 8 billion. We need numbers, distribution, adaptability. We need something already living among us. Noggo selects the feral pig. This is where the game becomes serious. Feral pigs already damage crops, livestock, soil, waterways, property, and native ecosystems. They are intelligent, adaptable omnivores, and controlling them is extremely difficult. U.S. agricultural authorities already measure their damage in billions of dollars annually. Now double every dimension. A 100-kilogram feral pig could approach 800 kilograms. Larger individuals could enter small car territory. Fences designed for normal pigs fail. Vehicle collisions become much worse. Fields are rooted up by living bulldozers, and each animal requires far more food. Unlike lions, pigs don't need fresh meat. They can eat crops, roots, eggs, insects, waste, and almost anything Noggo is saving for lunch. But their enlargement creates weaknesses too. Their legs now carry much more weight relative to their strength. They need far more calories. They remain visible, trackable terrestrial animals that humans can target with barriers, traps, vehicles, and aircraft. The first weeks would be disastrous in affected regions, but global coordination could eventually suppress them. Feral pigs win most dangerous direct all-rounder. But we need something harder to see. The mosquito trap. Mosquitoes seem like the obvious winner. They already spread malaria, dengue, yellow fever, West Nile virus, and other diseases. They live across most of the world, reproduce quickly, and can reach places armies cannot. Double their size and we get a slightly larger mosquito. Still unpleasant. But not the flying syringe people imagine. Doubling its length would create approximately 8 times the mass, but only around 4 times the wing area. Its wing beat, energy use, ability to take off, and feeding mechanics would all be affected. It may still fly. Insects naturally exist across wide size ranges. But we cannot honestly assume it would fly equally well, bite 8 times as much, or transmit 8 times as many infections. Pathogens also depend on specific biological relationships inside the mosquito. A larger abdomen does not magically manufacture malaria. Mosquitoes win greatest existing public health threat, but their doubled form is too scientifically uncertain to crown. Noggo looks at the button. The button looks back. It does not look sorry. Termites. Termites already cause enormous property damage worldwide. They work quietly, live in colonies, and attack the cellulose inside wood. Doubling them sounds like giving every colony larger cutting tools and much larger appetites. But enlargement steals one of their best abilities, entering tiny cracks. A termite twice as wide can no longer access every route used by a normal termite. Larger tunnels and visible damage make infestations easier to detect. Their colonies also need vastly more food, and their delicate bodies face greater moisture and temperature challenges. They could seriously damage wooden structures in warm regions, but steel, concrete, treated wood, and modern pest control give humanity defensive options. Termites win infrastructure saboteur, yet they still don't attack enough systems simultaneously. We need an animal that can live underground, enter buildings, eat our food, contaminate what it doesn't eat, reproduce quickly, and travel with us. Noggo slowly turns toward the rat. A doubled brown rat could approach the size of a medium dog, with perhaps 8 times the mass. It would be easier to see, but much harder to ignore. Rats already thrive in farms, sewers, ports, warehouses, homes, and dense cities. They contaminate food with urine, saliva, and droppings. They can carry pathogens. They burrow, chew materials, and exploit human waste. Now imagine dog-sized rats inside infrastructure designed around normal-sized ones. Some existing gaps become inaccessible, which helps us. But doors, food packaging, light barriers, and many traps become much less useful. Their teeth become larger. Their burrows destabilize more soil. Each rat requires far more food, pushing enormous numbers toward farms, warehouses, and neighborhoods. And unlike lions, rats don't need to defeat us in combat. They only need to make food storage unsafe, damage cables, disrupt sanitation, and force cities to fight infestations across thousands of hidden locations simultaneously. Could humanity eliminate them? Locally, yes. Globally? We already struggle to eliminate ordinary rats from cities and islands. Larger rats would be more visible and slower to reproduce if food became scarce, but every surviving population would keep applying pressure. Rats win. Hardest urban threat to contain. Widest attack on human systems, and, currently, worst overall. But one challenger remains. Desert locusts. A desert locust swarm can contain tens of millions of insects in a single square kilometer. According to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, that 1 square kilometer can consume roughly as much food in a day as 35,000 people. Now, give every locust approximately 8 times the body volume. If they retain flight and swarm behavior, the consequences become terrifying. Their energy requirements surge. Larger mouthparts strip vegetation faster. Crops disappear before harvest. Livestock lose forage. Food prices rise far beyond the affected region. Humanity wouldn't be eaten by locusts. Humanity would watch its food get eaten first. Unlike rats, locusts can cross borders in moving clouds. They can affect regions already vulnerable to drought, conflict, and food insecurity. Chemical control becomes more difficult because every surviving insect consumes more. Under our scoring system, functioning doubled locusts win. Biggest threat to agriculture, fastest regional catastrophe, and potentially highest short-term damage. But there is a catch. Their mass rises faster than their wing area. They must generate substantially more lift using a body that was never adapted for the new scale. Their oxygen delivery system, wing muscles, and takeoff mechanics could struggle. Some might fly poorly. Others may not sustain migration. A swarm that cannot travel becomes a huge buffet for birds, reptiles, and one extremely confused farmer. So locusts receive the highest possible catastrophic score, but only under a condition we cannot guarantee. If doubled locusts retain effective flight, they could produce the fastest and most severe food security emergency in this competition. But if every animal must obey the consequences of enlargement without magical adaptation, the overall winner is the rat. Not because it becomes the strongest, because it begins in the best position. Rats are already distributed through the world humans built. They already exploit our food, waste, transportation, and shelter. Doubling them creates biological disadvantages, but it does not erase the behaviors that make them successful. The lion attacks the person. The locust attacks the harvest. The termite attacks the building. The mosquito attacks health. The rat can pressure all four and do it from beneath the floor. Humanity does not dominate Earth because we can defeat every animal with our bare hands. We dominate because civilization protects us. Walls separate us from predators. Farms concentrate our food. Pipes deliver clean water. Electricity preserves what we eat. Hospitals control infections. Transport connects everything. That network is our greatest strength. It is also what the right animal would attack. The creature most likely to defeat humanity isn't necessarily the biggest, fastest, or most venomous. It's the creature that understands our world well enough to live inside it. And if making animals larger causes this much chaos, there is another button Noggo should definitely avoid. The one that doesn't double their size. It doubles their population.